It's not super fun, if you're a premier, to have 3 people on a team call. You get into the conference call, it dings, ding, you're the 3rd person. Hi everybody, welcome, there's 3 of you. It's so much funner. So much funner to have bigger team calls, right? So if I'm having diamonds, right, and my diamonds kind of break off, it's their time to start their own team call. But before that, I'm in charge of that team call. So if I'm constantly recruiting new people, I'm gonna always have a team call with my new people. Does this make sense? Now, if you have a really big team, and you're like a gold and a platinum, you have a really big team, then you could do your own team call if you'd like. But I'd recommend going upline and jumping on your diamonds team call. And if they don't have a team call, what do you tell them? We need a team call. Now, what is the purpose of a team call? It's to gather everyone. It's to teach. It's to give information. A lot of people on the team feel lost. How many of you have felt lost? And you just didn't know, you didn't know information. You didn't know where to go. You didn't know what was happening. You didn't know how to ask questions, right? This is a really great place, or how to get your questions answered, I should say. This is a really great place to do that. It's just 30 minutes long, once a week, at the beginning of the week. The first 2 minutes are a welcome. You just welcome everybody on. Then you have 5 minutes, you train on a specific oil or product. It's so easy. All you do is you take the Essential Life book. You open it up to literally a page. You can open up to Roman chamomile. You can open it up to vetiver, whatever. And you literally just read the stuff that's on the page. Tell them where it comes from, why it's cool, and then you have somebody else give a testimonial about it. That's it. Super easy, super duplicatable. Are we clear? And you just go through a different product. If you want to talk about adaptive, if you want to talk about, whatever it is, the skincare line, you just open up the book and you just talk about it on the call. And you have somebody give a testimonial about it. Next is you train on a specific business skill. Now, what business skill would you train on? Well, guess what? You find out, because we're going to talk about next with your strategy calls, whatever your team is struggling with that week. That last week, whatever they're struggling with, that's what you train on. This is simple. Let me show you. If people are struggling with close, what would you train on that week? Closing. If nobody is showing up for leadership, what would you train on that week? The importance of leadership. If people are having a really, really hard time getting people to show up to classes, what would you train on this week? And what are your resources to help you train? You just go to the daily mentor calls. You listen to a call and you train on what you hear. Or you help, your upline helps you. Or, do you know, a lot of my team will call me because day is night and night is day, so a lot of times I have a hard time getting on the call. They'll just say, can you do a 3-minute audio about this, and we'll just play it on our team call? Sure. Simple, easy, duplicatable, okay? Next is recognition and testimonials, okay? Now, this is 5 minutes long. The majority of your call is what? It's a 15-minute what? Training on a specific skill. That's the majority of your call. And I have to tell you, if people don't show up for calls, it's because there's no value created. If there were a ton of value created there, they would show up, would they not? Yep. So all the time people are like, I don't understand. Like, nobody wants to get on my calls. I'm like, I just don't understand why you don't understand. Obviously you're not creating value, or they would want to get on the call. So you need to create value. It has to be worth that half an hour for them. So with recognition and testimonials, I have to tell you something. Sometimes there's always the person that wins everything. Always. And her name is always Haley. It's like, you get on the call, it's like, Haley this, Haley that. Oh my God, Haley just enrolled this. Haley just did that. Haley now rank advance. And all of a sudden, everyone hates Haley. And it's actually demotivating for the people on your call. Do you know what I'm talking about? So if every single week you're always talking about Haley because she's winning everything, everybody else feels really bad. So this recognition time is not about Haley. You choose different types of recognition, like this. You know what? Joe did the coolest thing this week. He traveled 2 hours in the middle of the night for a boy that was really hurting. Joe, get on. I just want to recognize you. Tell us why you do the things you do and what motivates you. And Joe gets on the call. Or, how about this? Boy, Jill here, she signed up 7 people in one day. How in the world did that happen? Jill jumped on this call and talked about it. Now, if somebody hits a big rank, you can talk about that too. Find ways to recognize your team in really meaningful ways. Does this make sense? Meaningful ways. I'll tell you, with the presidentials, at least with me, we go on this presidential trip, right? And every year the owners are like, all right, now one of you is going to get the grand cabin. Let me tell you about the grand cabin. It has its own private pool with its private patio, and whichever one of these presidentials that are here, you will get this grand cabin. And we're all texting Haley going, will you just invite us over, please? Because we know she's going to win. And so we don't even really try. It's like, well, he's going to win anyway, right? Sorry, Emily, but that's really what happens. You can't be recognizing the same people or it's demotivating. So we choose really creative ways. If you have a leader that's really struggling, wouldn't it be a really smart idea to recognize them on your team call in a really genuine way for them? Wouldn't that be a great idea? Okay, next. Now you're just gonna go to reminders in the close. It's 3 minutes long, and it's things like, well, don't forget, Dr. Hill is coming. Make sure we get everybody signed up. Oh, don't forget, this is the last day to sign up for leadership for those that qualify. Or, it's just reminders. Hey, this is what's going on this month when it comes to promotions, all of those. It's a 30-minute call, happens every week. I like to do it in the evening. You can record it. You don't have to record it. It's great if you have team all over. How many of you every week do a team call? Raise your hand. Okay, so we definitely have room for improvement. How many of you aren't diamonds and want a team call, but you don't think your upline has a team call available? So you need to work with your upline, right? And get that going. Do you know that you could do team calls for people that are sidelined to you? I have people right now that are doing calls that are sidelined to each other. They just work together. That's a team call. It happens at the beginning of the week. Why would you do it at the beginning? Why wouldn't you do it like toward the middle or the end? Yeah, it sets up your week, and if you do it towards the end of the week, then the weekend happens and everyone forgets. Okay? Next. Strategy sessions with key leaders. When I was 23 and a half years old, the CFO of New Skin, not Corey Lindley, but the one before him, came to my business. I owned a bridal shop. Well, actually, at the time it wasn't bridal, but I owned a clothing store. And he said, Allyse, I want to do business with you. I said, great. And he became my funder. And we decided to go overseas and design wedding gowns and bring them in, and we sold them nationwide. It was really a fun business, super successful business. It was my first multi-million-dollar company. And he taught me something that I have never forgotten. He taught me something about business. And this is what he taught me, Allyse. If you want to be the best in any industry, the first thing you need to do is find out who does it best. That's number one. You find out who does it best. Then the second thing you need to do is you need to study out what they do, everything they do good, all the mistakes that they made. That takes a little bit of skill. And then the third thing you do is you copy everything they've done well and put a plan together to overcome all the mistakes, and you become number one in your field. over and over. And he showed this to me and mentored me for 15 years. Maybe for 13. And I became so good at business that literally I felt like, oh, somebody could just like drop me in a city and just give me a business and say welding that I knew nothing about. And I could create a multi-million-dollar company out of it because I just used the same pattern. It was kind of cookie cutter. You find out who does it best, find out what they do best, what they do well, what they don't do well, study it out. Copy everything that they do well and put a plan together to overcome the things that they don't do well, and you usually emerge on top. Now, when we decided that we were going to go into doTERRA, and we'd never done anything in this industry before, so I looked around to find who did it best. And I found a guy by the name of Nathan Ricks. He was the #1 US distributor for Nu Skin. He was making about $300,000 to $400,000 a month. I didn't know him at all. He didn't even know my name, and I called him up. I didn't know how to get his attention or how to make him sit down with me. And so I just took a long shot, and I said to him, Nathan, I'd like to sit down with you for about an hour or so and pick your brain about why you've been so successful. And then I said this. Now, the chances of you wanting to sign up with me are greater than the chances of me wanting to sign up with you. And he's like, what? He goes, who are you? And I said, well, my name's Allyse. He goes, I want to meet you. So we met, and he was so kind and gracious, and he taught me what he did best. And my one massive takeaway from Nathan Ricks was mentoring. It was strategy sessions. And he said the very best thing I did is every single week with my key leaders, I did a strategy session. And I did it week after week, month after month, year after year. And this was month 3 of my doTERRA business, right? I should say our doTERRA business, Patrick and I. And we started strategy sessions. Guys, I don't know how people even rank advance without strategy sessions, because if you're not in constant contact with your leaders, your qualified leaders, after a while what happens is, when do you call them? At the end of the month, because you need volume and you're worried. After a while, how do your leaders feel about you? Used. Do some of you feel that way? One person does. That's why we do them. You feel used because it's like, I never get any help, I never hear from you, and just at the end of the month, when it's time for you to get your numbers in, when it's time for you to rank events, I'm always going to get the same call. So we put strategy sessions together. We call them strategy sessions. By the way, these aren't counseling sessions. And that's, I think, what mostly we've turned these into, is just a counseling session. We are not therapists. We are not paid therapists. And by the way, if you turn all these into counseling sessions, it's heavy, isn't it? All of you counselors over here, therapists over here, right? It's heavy. And what I found is this. People don't need cheerleaders. They don't need cheerleaders. It's like every week, pump you up. And then they're like, ooh. Then you pump up again. You know? They don't need that. What they need is actionable items. And I found that people that actually make progress in their business from week to week aren't sad. They're not sad. They're not depressed. You don't have to talk them off a ledge. They're making progress. Are we clear? So we need actionable items, actionable things. And so I get it that, yeah, if you're good friends with the people you talk to and they want to talk about their spouse or things that are going on with their kids, do it a different day. That's not doTERRA time. This time is a strategy session. Are we clear? Let me show you what a strategy session looks like. Actually, did we put that in here, Dan? Maybe we didn't. Let's go to page number. Somebody's already there. 58. Is that true, 58? Yeah, it's 60. It's kind of, it's not even numbered is the problem. Okay, this is a simple strategy session sheet, all right? And remember, don't make this sheet into 2 pages, 4 pages, 5 pages, 6 pages, 8 pages. We want to keep it as simple as possible, and it goes like this. Step 1, you reconnect and ask some discovery questions. Tell me about your week. How are you feeling about doTERRA? What's the best thing that happened? What's the most frustrating? You don't have to ask them all. They're just some ideas. Step number 2, review the goals and priority action items from the week before. So you want to go over, how did our goals go last week? Did we reach our actionable items? Step number 3, things to review. Who's hosting classes? How many classes? How have you chosen? This goes hand in hand with your builder worksheets. Who knows what a builder worksheet is here? Raise your hand. Who doesn't know what a builder worksheet is? Who could care less what a builder worksheet is? So maybe that's something we need to do a live on. Okay, step number 4. It's this simple. It goes like this. Who wants to come up to the stage for me right now? Let's see, somebody in the back that's super excited. The girl that's waving her hand right now, back and forth, Grace. Okay, right there, come on up. Sorry, it wasn't you. I know, it's hard. You're gonna sit down in the plaid. It was this other girl behind her. I'm so sorry, it's hard to tell. You're not super excited because you're walking quite slow. Come on up.